In a recent episode of our podcast, Window on the West, which you can get at windowonthewest.com, I mentioned the phrase Frodo Lives and how it had been a thing in the 1960s and 70s, a sort of pre-digital meme that grabbed a hold of a lot of hippies, ultimately, in those days. And they glommed onto that phrase as a sort of countercultural phenomenon. And it was realized in certain different ways. One would be graffiti. You saw graffiti in a lot of places of Frodo Lives. You saw it scrawled everywhere. But you also had pins. And of course, this was encouraged by the folks who held licenses to Lord of the Rings. So you got a lot of pins printed. Frodo Lives, Gandalf for President, things like that. And it really started when the Ballantine Books version of The Lord of the Rings was published, because if this isn't a cover that would appeal to somebody who's on LSD, I don't know what is. This is really unique. Tolkien was never in love with these covers by any stretch of the imagination. You got the flying horses. I don't know if that's Gollum in there in the bottom of the middle of the two towers. You've got a lot of different odd creatures here at the bottom of the Return of the King, and a lot of those hippies glommed on to this copy of The Lord of the Rings and started using the phrase Frodo Lives. And I don't know if it became a password or if it was just something that tied people together, right? When you said Frodo Lives, you knew that the other person right there who said it, they'd read The Lord of the Rings too and were sort of a follower. But Tolkien wasn't exactly excited about this. In a letter 328 in the Letters of J.R. Tolkien in fall 1971, he wrote this: "The horrors of the American scene I will pass over, though they have given me great distress and labor. They arise in an entirely different mental climate and soil, polluted and impoverished to a degree only paralleled by the lunatic destruction of the physical lands which Americans inhabit." He thought that this whole Frodo Lives thing, it was a polluted and impoverished mental climate. It wasn't his favorite approach to the stories that he had slaved over his entire life. He did not appreciate how it became a 1960s meme of sorts. And as for the fact of what does Frodo Lives mean? Well, he doesn't live forever. He's not immortal. We know that because Tolkien said so in a letter in July 1971. He said that mortals cannot be conferred immortality by the Valar or anything else, right? That is who they are. It is endemic to their being. They are mortals. So Frodo doesn't live forever, but Frodo lived to see the destruction of Mount Doom. The eagles rescued him, I guess. So what does Frodo Lives mean exactly? What is it claiming? I guess it's claiming that he didn't die on Mount Doom. He did not live forever. He went to Valinor. He went on the last ship out of the Grey Havens to Valinor to die there, right? To live a gentle life of peace and healing, but he did die there. So Frodo doesn't continue to live. He just went to Valinor to die. So there you have it. Frodo Lives, countercultural meme of the 1960s that Tolkien was not a huge fan of. Thanks for watching. Make sure you don't miss any future Torque Dailies by clicking the subscribe button and that little bell there. And you can also become a patron by going to theonering.com/patron, where you can join us in our Discord chats and our private live chats.